Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take a quick look here at Ethereum, see what's going on. We want to talk a little bit about this because this coin's been pretty awesome to be able to short in the recent past. Almost every single time it pumps with Bitcoin, it pulls back super hard. This is one of those rare occasions where it's starting to align itself better with Bitcoin and not pull back quite as much. And there's a lot of resistance above the price action, more so liquidation, that we really got to be mindful of. Okay, so it's almost too much, and I think there's a decent chance we see a push up to the upside. I'm rarely bullish on this coin, but from the outside looking in, just kind of bigger picture, it would make sense just from, well, liquidation and manipulation standpoints. So make sure you hit the like button, folks. We get a significant amount of low likes to views. The ratio is way off. So if you could just, task yourself to do that every single time you watch a video, I'd deeply appreciate it. Maybe get us in front of more people and help get people less destroyed by moon boys, right? So I'm not perfect by any stretch, but I do look at things abstractly here without emotion. And it's best to make sure if you were trading, you're just looking at the data and making sure you understand the odds of success. So right now at this point, what are the odds of the price going up or down? Let's find out. 1950 to 1980 is a pretty heavy concentration there of shorts that were taken within the last couple of days here. So ever since April 29th, we see a decent amount of shorts entering the market with liquidation or stop losses in that range. Okay, we look here at the macro here, we can recognize between now and 2000, there's a pretty significant amount of liquidation. So if Bitcoin can hold its $96,000 range, I think Ethereum is going to continue higher and push towards some of those levels. Once more, liquidation is kind of reinforcing resistance in a lot of ways, but it's also accumulation of volume, and there's too many people shorting right now. Market makers know that. They're probably going to want to pump the price action higher. I get that feeling with Bitcoin too right now. There's a chunk of liquidation between 98 and 99,000. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more leg up before the price action pulls back for Bitcoin, if it even does. It's proven to be pretty substantial in the 90K range, mainly in the $95,000 area, and we just broke that resistance. So at this point, liquidation delta is finally bullish. We are 4 billion in liquidation longs versus shorts. We have 4 billion more in liquidation that could occur for long positions versus short positions, implying sustainability to the upside and or that you probably don't want to short against this kind of uptrend, right? Generally speaking, shorting against a lot of volume is not a bad idea. Sorry, not a good idea. It is a bad idea. Okay, so take a look here. Open interest. We can recognize there's a tremendous amount of open interest below the price. 1840 to 1820 is a heavy accumulation. So that's kind of our supply zone there, or more importantly, I'd rather say demand zone. And that is essentially an area where there's a lot of people trying to buy or have bought rather in that range, reinforcing that as a potential support. It's also the local high range too. I mean, it obviously depends on how you draw out the trend lines here, but for the most part, we see a lot of volume here, and our previous resistance was about 1840. That could work as a new support. I'll update our fib levels, post that on our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. If you're not familiar, I provide those here consistently. Every time I analyze the charts, I provide that for you. I also provide a really good resource here for Bitunix. Having been partnered with them, they offer really awesome campaigns. And right now we have a 2-week campaign for a deposit bonus. Take advantage of that, folks. We have a lot of traders using this exchange. So just make sure you use that. And if you hadn't used my link to register previously, do so now so you can be eligible for that. Okay, so daily time frame, let's work our way down. Where are we at here? So when it comes to the overall sentiment here from the macro perspective, we've been maintaining above the 50-day SMA for about 4 or 5 trading days. Our point of control is 1802, so that reinforces support, but recognize we do have resistance at 1900. So if you're going to consider a take profit target, right there just below the local point of control, or the secondary most amount of volume is above us at 1900. So maybe consider securing profits if you're going to have a higher margin trade. But for the most part here, everything's looking fully bullish. We can see the money flow index is high. We can see we're over our moving average. Stochastic swinging up. Money flow index is actually over 70, and we got our RSI maintaining above 50 for the last week or two. These are all phenomenal signs. Furthermore, too, the 4-hour time frame also reinforces support and more likelihood or propensity to go higher. So these are all very good signs. If the price does come down, I mean, we have this previous CME gap and fair value gap below the price at about 1700. So keep in mind, we lose this local range, our point of control at 1800. It may be worth considering closing that trade if you consider a long. Now, when we look at CME futures here, we can recognize there was a gap here, essentially. It's still there. Let's go ahead and tighten this up a little bit there. We can kind of see CME gap is roughly between 1715 and 1760. Okay, so just know that that does exist. All right, so there's still propensity for that. Just bear in mind, Bitcoin also has one at 92,000 that is very far away at this point. So I would not necessarily recommend trying to short against all this volume. If we look at the hourly time frame too, this reinforces that you should not consider a short position until we close soundly at below 1840 or lower. More importantly, that point of control at 1800 is a super substantial support. So heaven forbid the price does pull back to 1800. It's about a 3% correction. That'd be a good consideration for a long there as well. So am I a breakout trader? No. Did a lot of coins break out here recently and are looking like they're going to continue higher? Yes, Bitcoin included. So the truth is, most coins right now, specifically altcoins, look like they're ready to take off, and this is one of them. So once more, I'm not a bull or a bear. I'm just going to tell you how things are. And at this point, we've shorted the heck out of Ethereum up until last week. So I think at this point, it may be better to consider shifting gears. So we've got a pretty decent little continuation pattern here on our hands. Once more, I'm open to comment below. How about that? And let me know what your thoughts are. I love to hear what you have to say. I could be way off here on this, but these are generally things that are quite favorable in most cases that incentivize the price to go higher. Okay. All right, folks. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Be careful out there. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Thanks again so much for your time. Take care.